Hi everyone, I'm Rasul, and the presentation that you are listening right now is about the Chile country's energy resources, country's overall situation in terms of energy management, including problems, solutions, advantage, drawbacks, and country's further plans that they want to implement on next decades. Also, including the country's transition process into renewable sources. So let me start by saying that there is absolutely no doubt that in today's world, energy resources and energy resources management play a uniquely crucial role in shaping foreign policies for every country. Countries are much aware of that the energy management, which is correctly designed from foundation and implemented in a proper way, primarily contributes to the sustainability of the industrial development. Natural disasters that happened in recent years and the danger of exhaustion of some energy resources triggered the countries to take much more serious approach when it comes to the energy management. Especially renewable energy sources have become much more valuable and countries have started to invest heavily in this direction. Chile, the country located on the southwest coast of South America, is trying to keep up with this trend also. Chile is now one of the world's leaders when it comes to the clean and renewable energy production. However, the country has not always been satisfactory in terms of energy resources management. If we take a brief look at the energy history of the country, it's obvious to see that the Chile has faced many troubles throughout the history. That was also because that the Chile had practically no oil resources and always struggled to produce energy, but that was before the country discovered its huge potential for renewable alternative options. With the help of the technological innovations that have developed over the years, Chile has utilized their geographical advantage and started to use the land much more efficiently. Accelerated technological breakthroughs have made these renewable energy resources much more competitive for generating electricity and other types of energy than fossil fuels. Obviously, during this process of transition to renewable energy sources, Chile's state administration adopted certain legislations for making that process much more smooth. All those implementations by Chilean government brought several advantages and drawbacks with themselves. Before proceeding to a detailed analysis of those, here is information and historical facts about general conditions of Chile in terms of overall energy management. As it was mentioned previously, Chile really struggled to produce its own energy for many years. At the beginning of 1980s, Chile was highly dependent on hydropower. By the mid 1980s, 1990s, the economy of Chile was rapidly growing and the demand for energy was too high. As hydropower was not reliable because of droughts, Chile needed new energy sources. Therefore, Chile started to import natural gas from its neighbor, Argentina, with low cost, and the country eventually became heavily relied on natural gas. However, due to the economic crisis of Argentina in 2001, devaluation of national currency increased the domestic consumption of natural gas and caused gas shortage in the country. Argentina was not able to meet with its domestic needs and continued to fulfill its commitment to Chile. As a result, the Argentinian government restricted gas exports to Chile in 2004. It prompted Chile to seek alternative sources of energy to secure its energy supply. Now my teammate Orhan will give much more detailed information about country's overall energy situation.
Hello guys, my name is Orhan Mehmetzadeh. Today I would like to speak about the overall energy situation in Chile. First of all, obviously it cannot be said that the Chile is doing well in terms of oil production. The country is currently ranked at the 18th, 9th place according to the oil production with 12,000 barrels per day. Considering that the country's daily oil consumption equals to the 351,000 barrels per day, the current situation is not satisfactory at all. Obviously, the fact that there is so much difference between the production and consumption also affect the reserves, imports, and exports of the country. Furthermore, also it looks better in comparison to production of oil and natural gas. Coal production is still not at the desired level. Chile imports 12 million tons of coal while only exporting 159,000 tons of coal. Also, in order to attract renewable energy investments, the Chilean government has implemented some regulations. However, Chile already surpassed the defined goal of 5% between the 2010 and 2012. And in 2012, non-conventional renewable energy was 7% of Chile's total energy generation. Firstly, if we take a look at the general statistic of the renewable energy production of Chile, the country produced 865 gigawatts of renewable electricity per month in middle of the 2016s. In March 2019, this number increased to the 1,088 gigawatt hours. At the end of the September 2019, approximately 22% of the country's total energy capacity started to be obtained from renewable energy sources.
Now I will give information about the hydropower and problems in energy management of Chile. There are some important reasons behind the great transformation of Chile, which has become a major hydroelectric producer in the last decade. Unfortunately, the recent climate change continues to give Chile a hard time. The drought caused by the climate change itself had already a massive damage on the hydroelectric production of Chile. According to the Chilean Meteorological Directorate, only 82 millimeters of rainfall have been recorded in Santiago since the beginning of 2019. The situation is even more worrying in the region of Valparaiso in the center of the country, where the driest 12-month period of the century is currently experiencing. Although this lack of precipitation has obvious negative effects on the country's agricultural sector and mining operations, which requires large amounts of fresh water, huge parts of Chile's electrical energy is still dependent on the production of hydroelectric energy. Despite the Chilean government's regulations that serve to attract renewable energy investment, the country has challenges on the implementation of renewable projects, and most of them are projects of wind and solar technologies. Even though they got an environmental approval from the Chile's environmental impact assessment system, in terms of capacity only 10% are realized up to now because of some obstacles. These obstacles are resistance from local communities, practical and regulatory difficulties in connecting to the grid, and consumers' lack of interest to sign long-term contracts with intermittent sources of energy, which are not available all the time, such as wind and solar power. The wind should blow to get energy from it, and there should be a sunlight to produce solar energy. To develop the renewable energy sector, Chile has to address these challenges. Now, Orhan will continue on greenhouse gas emissions.
It's clear that today one of the main goals of government is economic development. For this reason, and to meet the needs of electricity demand, governments have considered to adapt the most cost-effective solutions, which is the use of fossil fuels, oil, gas, and coal in this case. However, what is not considered in this solution is its impact on the environment. Burning fossil fuels is one of the primary causes of greenhouse gas emissions in the atmosphere. As can be seen from its name, greenhouse gas cause the atmosphere to absorb and keep the heat, which gives rise to the global warming. Overall, Chile accounts for only 0.25% of the global emissions. Although this is a very low number, Chile is highly subjected to the impact of it, particularly rivers, forests, and oceans, which are fishing resources, and also low-lying coast areas. Yes, that's all. Now Sakina will talk about the problems related to the country's energy situation and possible solutions.
Before coming to the solutions, I want to add some points to the greenhouse gas emissions of Chile. So this figure shows the total carbon dioxide emissions for the period between 1990 and 2018. As reflected, it has grown in substantial amount since the year 1990. While net emissions in 1990 were 29 million tons of CO2, for 2018 it was 88 million tons of CO2. CO2 emissions almost doubled in 2018 compared to the 2002 level, which was 47 million tons of CO2. In Chile, main contribution to the greenhouse gas emissions comes from the energy sector. According to the International Energy Agency, in 2017, total carbon dioxide emissions from fuel combustion was 86 million tons. 34.6 million tons of CO2 came from electricity and heat production. Second highest CO2 emitter was transport sector with 27.4 million tons of CO2. Now I will talk about the solutions for hydropower related problems. Firstly, Chile needs to make more financial investment for the water energy because it seems impossible to stop the damage that climate change continues to do. Secondly, the large-scale seawater desalination programs can respond to the problems as well. As of December 2019, 11 desalination plants are operating in Chile now, and 10 more projects are being developed, including the largest desalination plant in Latin America, which is currently under construction in Atacama region. However, most of the results from these facilities are for the country's water-hungry mining industry. Therefore, the country should make complete strict implementations to manage its water resources more efficiently. A large amount of financial investment is required for those implementations, but the Chilean government is having trouble investing on both sides because of the tight economic capacity. Hopefully, 3 years ago, the company of Almer Water Solutions stepped in and made everything a little bit easier for the Chilean government. Also, in order to slow down the Chile's ongoing water problems, AWS, the leading global developer of water infrastructure projects, bought several water purification companies in the country to expand the overall economic capacity of Chile. Solutions for grid and the intermittency of renewable energy. One solution for problems related to grid is implementing smart grid technologies that contribute to the integration of renewable energy sources and supporting them. Another solution is energy storage batteries, which can preserve the stability and flexibility of grids by providing services to support grids, such as voltage control. Also, batteries can play a crucial role in solving intermittency of solar and wind powers. They are able to store the energy from the peak renewable energy source, and they can release that energy when it's needed. In 2016, the Chilean government passed Law 20.936, which deals with electricity transmission. It addresses the barriers regarding to the development of non-conventional renewable energy projects. The law focuses on the establishing modern, robust transmission network infrastructure and connecting two power grids, which are Northern Interconnected System and the Central Interconnected System. As there is a higher demand for electricity in the central region, the connection of these two systems will allow the northern region to easily transmit solar power to the central region. It will make different renewable energies to complete each other at different times or in different regions. For example, getting solar power at daytime and wind power at night, or getting solar energy from the north and wind energy from the central south region. For Chile to accomplish renewable energy goals, it needs to have clear and consistent government policies. The experiences of very successful countries like Denmark and Sweden in renewable energy development shows that an effective transition requires a combination of clear decision-making and consistency in government policies. Transparency and consistency in policies show balance in the government that reduces uncertainty and attracts companies to make investments on the future development of the renewable energy sector. Consistency policies help the country to achieve long-term goals and to develop strong domestic industries. Also, they facilitate the process of energy transition and affect the deliverance of technological innovation. Instead of depending on a single solution for the power sector, Chile needs to accomplish multiple energy goals and build a policy portfolio to promote the transition to renewable energy. Support for renewable energy must be included in a wider policy program that can be implemented across not only the economy but also the transportation and construction sectors. Now, Aisha will continue.
I'm going to talk about the solutions and policies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The concern over greenhouse gas emissions and its visible impact on the planet has urged many countries, including Chile, to take proper measures and develop policies to alleviate the effects of greenhouse gas emissions. Considering this challenge, Chilean government has carried out certain measures to advance the development of non-conventional renewable energy and energy efficiency. First of all, in December 2015, in accordance with the Paris Climate Agreement, Chile has agreed to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions by 30% compared to the levels in 2007 by the year 2030. Chilean government also published a document called Energy 2050, Chile's Energy Policy, in 2015. In this document, future goals of Chile regarding energy are clearly defined. The commitment of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 30% compared to 2007 is also mentioned in this document as one of the goals to be accomplished by the year 2035. Also, I would like to mention that this energy policy consists of 4 pillars. First one is quality and security of supply. Second is energy as a driving force for development. Third is environmentally friendly energy. And last one is energy efficiency and energy education. Energy efficiency is one of the important objectives of Chile. The main idea behind it is that the dependence of Chile on imported fossil fuels should be decreased, and this in turn will result in decreased demand and decreased cost in energy. Therefore, greenhouse gas emissions and pollution levels will reduce. Unquestionably, one of the factors to contribute to the reduced greenhouse gas emissions is to increase share of renewable energy generation. Steps and actions designed to achieve low greenhouse gas emissions are indicated in the energy policy document of Chile. First of all, the action for the period between 2016 to 2020 is to develop standards for the hazardous substances contained in fuels. And then for the period between 2020 to 2030, the actions are as following. First one is promoting the use of clean energy sources. Second is identifying productive sectors where technological changes can be made that encourage the use of fuels and energy with low emissions. And the last one is promoting research and investment into developing clean energy sources. Main goal by the year 2035 is that at least 50% of the fuel should be low in greenhouse gas emissions and pollutants, while the goal by the year 2050 is that at least 65% of the fuel should be low in greenhouse gas emissions and pollutants. As the transport sector is one of the highest emitters of carbon dioxide, Chilean government has introduced an innovative transport plan. This is mainly considered for its capital city, Santiago. The idea behind this is to reduce fossil fuel combustion and greenhouse gas emissions as well. Action is already taken where buses working with diesel are replaced with electric buses. The goal of the Chile government is to increase the amount of electric public transportation to 100% by the year 2050. Innovative transport plan ensures to promote a cheaper and cleaner form of transportation. At a meeting, Manuel Pavon, managing director of Fotovati Renewable Ventures South America, said that the Chilean government has already started implementing plans for further growth in the country's renewable energy capacity. He said that Chile aimed to have 20% of renewable energy sources by 2025. This goal was reached early in 2018, and the government is considering to raise the target to 25 or 30%. Chile also wants to disable all coal-based power plants in the country by 2050. In conclusion, it can be said that with the contribution of Chilean government, development of non-conventional renewable energy sources is increasing in the country. Location and the unique geography of Chile makes the country obtain solar, wind, geothermal, biomass, hydropower and ocean energy. Overall, it looks like the Chilean government does not want to slow down. On the contrary, they are increasing the number of new projects in order to make the transition to renewable energy sources in a smoother way. That was all about the energy strategy of Chile. Thanks for listening.